is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. With me, as always, his name is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I'm okay. You know what? Every day is a new challenge.
A new calamity.
And I think that's where we're going to pretty much start with today. There's so much going on right now. And you had an interesting topic and something that I was completely unaware of in relation to fraud, because this just in, Mike, I don't know if you know this or not, but the state of Minnesota, we've got some issues when it comes to fraud and politics and people basically ripping off the average Minnesota taxpayer. And I will say this as we begin this discussion. I can't tell you, and again, I pretty much avoided politics until 15, 20 years ago, meaning conversations about it, right? Sure. I was more of a sports guy, more of a business kind of a guy, and I really didn't dabble that much into politics. But as it stands more recently, it's almost impossible to avoid the subject matter of politics, whether you could take it any number of different ways. And what I am seeing now in the state I love, the state I have lived my entire life, I even went on a rampage over the weekend because of something Governor Tim Walz had posted about how he's not going to let these Trump wannabes take over the state of Minnesota. I'm thinking, bro, sit this play out. You have no leg to stand on right now. And I got to tell you, the fraud subject is about the most blood-boiling, maddening, because I can remember countless number of times that I've taken out a second job just to pay off my taxes, where I've worked a little bit extra just to pay off my taxes because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm an American. I'm not an American hater. I love it here. And this stuff makes me so angry, I cannot even tell you.
What we really need to do on this fraud thing, too, is make it real. Like, I need to walk up to somebody and say, give me your wallet. And have them say, what do you mean? Give me your wallet because I'm going to take this money out of here and it's going to be complete fraud. They're just stealing from us.
Yep.
Plain and simply stealing from us. And we're too stupid, too unorganized, too not disciplined, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Too laden with bureaucracy that we just can't stop it. I actually don't blame the Governor Walz. I don't blame him. I think he's not making correct decisions, but to get down to granular things that are happening across a state that has a budget of multiple billions of dollars every biennium, it's very difficult. He could have, when he first heard about these frauds, say, time out. Let's do something big here because we can't afford to lose $10 million, $100 million, $500 million, $1 billion in straight old fraud. And it is perplexing. If he ran a taco stand that lost $1,000 a day, $1,000 a day into fraud, he'd be gone in 2 weeks.
Right.
What are we doing? And I don't singularly blame him, right?
But he's at the head of this.
He is, but you can't know all the detritus that's happening below you. You just can't know it.
But you also can't sit there and because I got to be. This is where you and I are going to disagree. I do blame him, and I'm not. And on account of, you want to know why? Because he is not only at the head of this. He knew this was. It's been proven now. That he and his office knew that this was happening, and he did nothing. He absolutely did nothing to try to stop this.
We don't know.
No, we do though. That's the problem.
We don't know he did nothing. We didn't.
Okay, that's true.
We don't know he did not. I'm sure he doesn't want to say. Reavers, let me just say this. I'm 100% sure he didn't say, well, let him just keep stealing. Let him go. I don't care. Let him just do it. That's not what he said. He's not a total doofus. He's not a complete idiot. He's just not. Have you seen him change out his door on his car that he had? Yeah. Did you see that video? No doofus could change out his own door.
But at the same time, what would compel him to run for a third term?
I get
because
that.
Here's why. I do, and there was an emailer for the Garage Logic show that said this, and I thought, oh my God, this person's spot on. It's almost as if he can't leave his post, because if he leaves his post, the next person that takes this spot's going to say, well, holy crap, it was sitting right here in front of him. And they might suspect that he was even on the take, which I don't believe as we stand in this moment.
Yeah.
But I do think, however, there are people in elected positions of power that have been on the take.
Sure.
I do believe that.
I do too. I don't think he is. I don't think he is. He's got enough power. He's living in a multiple $1 million mansion.
That's
He's
been fenced around for about the last 19 years,
Yes,
but that's another story.
So I have an idea how to fix this, though.
All right, talk to me.
So you've heard of whistleblowers, correct?
Sure.
So you can be a whistleblower against the federal or state government too. And what I find interesting is if you're a whistleblower and you follow certain rules, right? You bring it to authorities. You don't post it on social media. I mean, you keep it to yourself while bringing it to the FBI or some agency that would mark you as an official whistleblower. If you do that right and you don't have to get counsel, you don't have to get an attorney for this, you know how much money you get to keep of what they pull back from the fraud?
No.
30%. So let's do a little math, Reavers. That feeding your futures scam.
Feeding our futures.
Sorry. It wasn't feeding my futures. That's why I didn't say our. Feeding our future scam returned roughly $75 million.
Of the 260 roughly?
Of the 250, right? Allegedly stolen. So what's 30? That's $21 million someone would have made if they would have said, time out. Aggressive fraud is happening. FBI, let me show you the stuff. I'll still work here where I get data to show you this fraud. And oh, by the way, these people will be compelled to talk, and they'll be arrested, and we'll collect this money back. If you do this right, you can make a fortune. Here's where I'm going with this. If you're sitting there working for the state of Minnesota and you see something that is highly fraudulent, if you know that this one company's never responded to your asking them how many services they've performed, that company that you talked about today, they billed $2 million, right?
Yep.
And they have no proof that they've done any services, anything. And people were even saying, I believe this might be fraud. If you would have taken that up the ladder outside of your organization to the FBI and said, hey, a criminal fraud is happening right here. Of those $2 million, $2 million, excuse me, because it was $2 million, you might have gotten $600,000 to do that. Think of that. Is that worth it? I mean, your boss could be pissed at you. People could be pissed at you. So what?
So do you suspect, because last week when we were talking about this story, there was somebody that was fired from their position right the night before that this investigation was to commence. And my suspicion on the show was that this person was, in fact, a whistleblower.
Well, yeah, you'd be really dumb to fire a whistleblower because then it really moves them up, right? It really gives them
nothing to lose.
Yeah, they have nothing to lose, right?
Sure.
They're no longer part of the team. And, there are people that work for the state of Minnesota. Let me go put this on record. 99.9% of them are not thieves. In fact, I think it's not thievery that is allowing this fraud to happen. It's unchecked things. Like, why are we sending a check to a guy for $55,000 when he's giving us no proof of any performance?
Well, and that's why it makes me so angry, because I have a number of friends that work in state offices and things like that. And what makes me angry is no one hates those people more than the people that are actually trying to do a good job.
It's like
for
a
the
bad
state.
cop, right?
Same theory. Yeah. Absolutely. If no one hates bad cops more than good cops,
but
it's the exact same theory.
If I'm a low-level bookkeeper at the state of Minnesota, if I'm just a lowly bookkeeper, and I say, oh, man, we're sending a lot of checks out to this guy, a couple $1 million worth. That seems weird. And I go to my boss and I say, hey, boss, is this weird? And they said, well, hold on. You have these other 9,000 checks you got to do today. Go work on those checks. And, okay, I did my duty. I said this one seemed weird. My boss said, hey, we're too busy to look into this. This isn't our job to look into this. Auditor should be looking into this.
Can I tell you why I think that those people in those particular positions that might raise an eye of suspicion on some of this stuff? I think that it is so seeped. And I will say this again. The quote from Joe Thompson, acting U.S. Minnesota attorney, help me. District Attorney. Him saying last week that he has never seen anything like this, and what we've already uncovered is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, that was his direct quote last week. That leads someone like me to believe that this is so widespread. This is so deep. The fraud has gone. Everybody that's involved with this. It's so entrenched that I think someone on the lower level, like a bookkeeper, might fear of whether it's harm, whether it's a personal attack, whatever the case might be. I think that there's general fear from someone like that that's saying, I'm not speaking up. I don't need to get, have anything happen to me. I think that's the general concern from someone like that.
It's possible. Or they're just punching a clock, Reavers. And they're not, it's not malice, it's Hanlon's razor, right? Don't attribute to malice what could be adequately explained by stupidity or apathy.
Sure.
Right? They're just saying, man, you
it's
tell me to write the checks.
I want to go home.
Here's another way we could do it. You could say, anybody that works for the state of Minnesota, if you find fraud and we stop that fraud, you get a portion of what we stopped. Your bonus is, if you catch the fraud, if you're writing a check to somebody and it's a $300,000 check and you're like, that does not seem right, and you catch that, you get your bonus on that.
What if it's someone that's already bet on the take and all of a sudden their share's getting cut short?
I don't think people are on the take. I really don't.
Oh, Mike.
You know how many people, I think people are just criminals. Hey, the Feeding Our Future fraud was not masterminds. That was the most basic shit you've ever seen. We're signing up for this government program, telling them we're doing a bunch of stuff and sending it out. That's it.
And yet we're the one state in the union. Well, Michigan might be right behind us, but we're the one state in the union that aligned ourselves with the single most corrupt country in the entire free world.
Doesn't mean the people here are corrupt, right?
Look at every name associated with the fraud.
They had a government corruption in that country. I'm not going to go ahead and throw everybody under that bus.
Okay, but Joe's quote is spot on. Not all Somalians are thieves, but all of the people associated with the fraud cases, 90+% of them,
except the ringleader,
they all just so happen to be Somalian.
But you notice it wasn't a super sophisticated fraud. Oh, you have a little restaurant? Let's pretend 5,000 people are eating at your restaurant. We're going to get busted someday because the proof is too clear.
But a third of us are going to be already in another country.
But a third of us have moved of the $250 million to a different country. Some of us left. What the greed got them, right? If they would have stuck to low level, if they would have said we're feeding 500 people a day and just made $3,000 a day instead of $30,000 a day, they probably would have gotten away with it. I don't think there's a bunch of people in the state government of Minnesota on the take. I just don't believe it. Too many people have to be silent. That's why when I think of last week's show, when I said I don't know if people landed on the moon, as I thought about that later on, I thought maybe too many people would have had to be in the know. Someone at some point would have said, I helped create that video.
Well, and it just takes, I guess, when you want to look at it that way.
It's one person.
It takes one disgruntled, quote unquote, person in the know or one person in the whatever. It takes one disgruntled person that feels that they got shorted in some way to say, well, wait a minute, A, B, C, D, and E have all been siphoning from the political teat, and here's what's going on here. I guess it just does take one person.
We had a whistleblower in the Feeding Our Future. And there was an internal whistleblower that got that. They're not going to get any money because in lieu of going to jail, they whistleblew.
Yeah, they wanted immunity, right?
Yeah. I think we call those people rats. I'm just kidding. You're not a rat.
Tony Soprano now all of a sudden?
I don't know. It sounded cool.
I got a great email, and by the way, it involves you.
Oh, no. Okay,
Are you ready? It's a good and bad email
Tell
from Gary.
me why I'm stupid because I don't believe in the moon landing.
No. But it went to the GL show, but it applies to the Weekly Scramble podcast as well. It's from loyal listener Gary, and I know Gary listens to our show as well. So I went into I almost pulled off a GL trifecta.
Okay.
I went to the New Hope Fratelloni's last week with the intention of buying some We Are Nuts.
Nice.
I grabbed a few flavors, and while in the checkout line, I just so happened to notice a Masters Maples display. Well, I guess I needed some Masters Maples while I was at it. From previous trips to the store, I know they don't carry seafoam. I was on a roll. Damn it, Fratelloni. I thought I could actually pull off the GL trifecta with one particular stop.
You know what he did in that email? One, he made me feel good. But then he said something that was an error when he said, I know they don't carry seafoam. What he doesn't know is we've carried seafoam for 40 frickin' years.
Gary, you son of a...
We carried seafoam before GL even heard of seafoam.
There will, you know what? Tomorrow on the Garage Logic podcast, It's almost like when a newspaper has to air
A retraction. Yep.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Gary, do me a favor. Mike at Garage Logic, send me your address, and I'm going to send you out some seafoam that we sell.
You want to do that.
I think I do. I want him to say, oh my God, how embarrassing that was that I threw Fratelloni under the bus, when literally we've been carrying it for as long as I can remember. I've been selling seafoam.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I knew you guys carried
Oh,
seafoam,
you did?
and that's
Okay.
why I read that email, because I thought to myself, when Joe handed me that email, he's like, "Oh, this is gonna be a great We Are." And by the way, this is a We Are Nuts ad, which I'll get to in a minute. But I remember thinking, I've bought seafoam at Fratelloni's. Yeah. I know I have.
Obviously, impulse food items we keep to the front. We Are Nuts, Masters Maple, all that kind of stuff, right? Seafoam, it's back in the automotive department.
It's where the stuff's supposed to be.
It's got to be. But tell him I love him. Send me your address, Mike at garagelogic.com, and I'm going to send you out a care package.
Oh, you are the absolute best. And now you've created yourself a storm there, Mike Fratelloni.
I don't care.
That's
Gary and I are buddies. I just thought that was really cool that he did that.
That's awesome.
And we have seafoam.
So anyway, if you go into the website, wearenutsmn.com, you can see their entire selection. It's a great Minnesota family-owned operation making great snacks. And right now, take advantage of this fantastic sale that's going on right now through the end of the month of September at all Kowalski's markets and also at Lunds and Byerly's, 25% off. You can see those beautiful end caps just like the ones that you see at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. That's through the end of the month of September, 25% off at Kowalski's markets and also at Lunds and Byerly's. It's the best snacks known to man. In fact, I'm due for a stop, and I'm going to go to New Hope and say, I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to say, see, seafoam does exist here at the Fratelloni's location.
When you go into Kowalski's, you know what you should say?
What?
I heard about it on the Weekly Scramble. I heard about it on Garage Logic.
Great idea.
I can't tell you how important it is for retailers to hear that. If you like this podcast and you don't pay for it, if you like GL and you don't pay for it, you just listen to the show. The one way you can give us a boy or a high five is to walk into the retailer and say, hey, I heard about this on the Weekly Scramble or Garage Logic. Thank you for carrying it. I'm going to try some.
And I'm going to come back.
That's it. Or,
that's awesome.
Like, let's say you didn't need seafoam right now.
Right.
But if you came in and you say, hey, I heard about this product on GL. When I need it, I'm going to come back and get it to you. You don't even need to buy it at that moment. Retailers just need to hear that the money that they're spending on advertising is going somewhere.
That's
and that
right.
makes a big difference.
We Are Nuts and wearenutsmn.com, the Weekly Scramble. So as we were doing that last commercial, Mike, and talking about fraud and everything else, something occurred to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as if the big club that we're not a part of, right? We're not in the political class. We're not, as Joe likes to say, we're not on the third rail.
Sure.
We're just the people kind of going about our business,
paying for
trying to live our everyday lives. And what made us great, and by we, I mean the state of Minnesota, and I've lived here my entire life, and we were always kind of the belief that we kind of look out for one another. Mm-hmm. We take care of one another. You know, our neighborhoods are, hey, your kid needs a ride home from baseball practice. Okay, I got him. I can take care of that, or you know, whatever. That's why we were kind of ripe for the picking. Do you see what I'm saying? Where not our vulnerability, but our acceptance, our compassion, and our thoughtfulness was almost used against us. And that's why that makes me even more angry. And I'm going to tell you, on account of you want to know why. I'll tell you exactly what I mean by that. Because of that good-natured sense, because of that good-natured, well, you know what, shoot, yeah, okay, this guy doesn't have a hat, I'll give him a hat. This guy needs a meal, I'll get him a meal. That's the mindset that we were all raised with in this state. Yep. We were all raised with have compassion for your neighbor that may have less than you do. At least that's the way I was raised. And that was used against us. Because we were vulnerable. We were ripe for the picking. And that's what makes me even more angry about this, the more I think about it. Because that's not how things should work. And again, I'm not saying anybody that moved here from either another state or another country is trying to take advantage of the system. However, what I am going to say is there are those people that are trying to take advantage of the system.
100% there are.
And that should make every last one of us mad, angry, and we're not going to take this anymore. And that's why I will say this again. I cannot believe that this clown has the balls to run for a third term as governor after the absolute devastation this state has seen in his first 2 terms as governor of this state. Mike, we went from having an $18 billion surplus to a $6 billion deficit. And then he not only did that, he raised taxes amidst all of this corruption, amidst all of this fraud, and then has the audacity to look at all of us and say, well, at least I'm not Trump. Who in the hell do you think you are? Yeah. You're just insulting me. You're insulting every last one of us that was born here, raised here, started a family here. I'm going to raise my kids here. Go to hell, man. Who do you think you are? I really didn't think I was going to get that fired up.
I'm glad you're passionate about it. And I'm glad you're pissed, because you should be pissed. We got screwed out of $1 billion, right? The taxpayers of Minnesota, not the people who didn't pay taxes, by the way, the taxpayers. So if 50% of the people in Minnesota pay taxes, the 50% of the people that pay taxes got screwed out of $1 billion. What bugs me about it is I think I'd like him. I
can tell you I wouldn't.
I don't know. I don't know if you wouldn't. I think unless he's, I don't know. When I watch his videos of him putting a new door on his car.
Oh my God.
Am I just that chump of a sucker that he just reminds me of a real guy? I get he's hyperbolic. I get President Trump's hyperbolic. They're both fringe narcissists potentially, but I think I'd like them both. I really do. I think I'd like them both. And I don't know what that makes me. It makes me dumb. This big fraud scandal. One thing too that we learned from Doge. Right? Remember this Doge, the Department of Government Efficiencies? All we had to do is if we thought there was fraud on any one of those accounts, all we would have to do in Minnesota, and we attempted to do this, but the court stopped us, is stop paying. The moment we stop paying, then who was the gentleman who got caught with the $2 million fraud today?
Johnny had it in his newscast. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of
me. You'll come up with it. He would have not gotten a payment. Then he would have had to look at himself in the mirror and say, should I call to complain that I didn't get paid? Is this a sign that they got me? Do they know that this is fraud that's happening? And all we would have had to do is not pay him and said, wait till he calls in to get paid. Because I bet you there's a lot of people out there that would have just said, I don't feel comfortable.
I apologize for kind of taking a left turn here, but we do have a bit of breaking news. Because I was going to KSTP to try to find the story that you were referencing, but the man who attempted to assassinate President Donald Trump at a Florida golf course last year apparently tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen shortly after being found guilty of all counts today. Officers quickly swarmed him and dragged him out of the courthouse. The jury of 5 men and 7 women found Ryan Routh guilty on all counts that he was facing after 2 hours of deliberation. After the jurors were on their way out of the courtroom, Routh tried to stab himself in the neck. He grabbed a pen and started trying to stab himself in the neck. Marshals swarmed him and picked him up and dragged him out of the courthouse. His daughter was screaming, "Dad, I love you. Don't do anything. I'll get you out. He didn't hurt anybody." She continued screaming inside the courtroom as her father was dragged out. She said the case against him was rigged. The daughter went outside the courthouse and was waiting by the guard gate a few minutes after the. Holy crap on a cracker.
That's a little scary, right?
Well, you know what? This speaks to a much larger point, and I'm going to kind of riff with you here. It speaks to a much larger point, and whether you see things on social media, we talked about this a little bit with the Charlie Kirk stuff that was kind of surfacing the last week and change, and you even saw it, Mike, Sunday when they were just trying to honor his life at the Phoenix Cardinals Stadium in Glendale. We've got a lot of people in this world that are mentally unstable,
mentally ill,
and unfortunately, things like social media are not helping. When you continue to hear the biased rhetoric coming out of certain types of news gathering institutions, that's not helping. When you hear elected officials, and I'm going to name Walz again, who was shocked that he didn't see news, quote unquote news about the president, that's not helping. And all of these people that are trying to say, let's calm the waters, let's tone down the rhetoric, you're doing the exact opposite. And that's what's not allowing, that's not the right word. That's what's enabling people like this to think, well, it's okay for me to try to physically harm and or assassinate a political candidate. I mean, sadly, we saw the case here with Melissa Hortman and her husband. And these people that have been fueled by this derangement syndrome, this is not helping at all. This isn't making the world safer for anybody, let alone a political candidate.
Can I play for you an example of total derangement where people are just deranged, and it's a video of a mom talking to her 2 kids. Did I already talk to you about this?
I thought we brought this up last week.
Can I play it for?
Is this the one where she's talking about Charlie Kirk being dead?
No, close. You think it's going to be that?
Oh,
hold on one second.
Okay,
let's go to a quick break. Is that all right? Can you just pause for 1 second?
Sure.
Okay,
absolutely.
let's pause.
Play for the class.
I'm playing it.
Donald Trump died.
Second best news.
The vice president died.
The vice president died.
Third best news.
That Elon Musk died.
Okay, no. Nobody died. My best friend's getting married.
Which one is it?
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged.
So Reavers, this is a mom talking to her 2 little beautiful girls, and says, "Did you hear the great news?" And the little girl says, "President Trump died? No. The vice president died? No. Elon Musk died? No." And this woman's a teacher.
Right.
And she was basically just trying to tell her sweet little girls that Taylor Swift is engaged. And the little girls have been so brainwashed, indoctrinated
Yep.
that the first 3 things they thought their mom would be excited about is that the president, vice president, or Elon Musk died. Think of that, Reavers.
And here's why we're in such a sea of mess right now with things just like that. That clip that you played, and I saw that everywhere. So I'm glad you brought that up, because here's the problem: these kids aren't learning that. They're not forming that belief on their own, for obvious reasons. But that stems to so many different tentacles of why this country is such a cesspool right now. Whether it's, my 3-year-old son thinks he's a girl. No, he's not. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, he's not a girl. Whether you believe that or not, you're brainwashing that child, and that's the thing. If a child under the age of 15 thinks they're the opposite sex, that's a parental issue. That's nothing more than that. I don't want to go down that road right now. But that's the level of stupidity that exists on one simple clip. My best friend, Taylor Swift.
Yeah. The woman's obviously insane. Just think that little girl's going to go to school and they're going to say, the teacher's going to say, "Did you hear some good news? President Trump died?"
Yeah.
You'd say, "Hey, little psychopath.
Wait, what?
What the hell's wrong with you?" I'd call Child Protective Services if a kid said that. One thing I want to talk about is this Tyler Robinson, the guy who killed Charlie Kirk, allegedly killed Charlie Kirk, but he did it, right? I don't think he should be put to death. I don't think you should have the death penalty imposed on him, because somebody will take that as martyrdom. Someone will look at him like he paid for us.
Sure.
I think we put him in jail and we say, "See you later.
Enjoy the next 60 years or
60,
whatever.
70 years.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Don't say anything about him. Put him away and be done with it. Because if you put him to death, he'll become something more."
And I will say this, and I don't know how she found the courage to go in front of, what was it, 150,000 people or whatever it was at that stadium, to not only give what I thought was a pretty moving speech, talking about Charlie Kirk's widow, a pretty moving speech, a pretty powerful and passionate speech, but to have the strength to say, "I forgive him."
Yeah.
Wow.
That's deep faith. That's all that can be.
That is. And
that's all that it can be.
And you see so many of the good signs of humanity, and then also some of the most horrific sides of humanity, like we were talking about this teacher, sadly, with the 2 girls, where I saw the one protester outside. And I've been around that stadium multiple times. I know that area very well in Glendale. And the woman that was sitting across the street from the parking lot adjacent to the stadium that looked at a pregnant woman, because she was obviously whatever her opinion was the truth and everybody else is wrong, because that's just the way that we are these days. She was holding up a protest sign about how she hated Charlie Kirk, and then to look at a pregnant woman and say, "I hope your baby dies." What level of deep-rooted psychosis do you possess to be able to not only
who would say that to someone?
To begin to develop that thought in your head, but then to have it come out of your mouth and say that to somebody is mind-boggling.
You brought
to
this
me.
up the other day. It's one thing to have those weird thoughts.
Yeah.
It's another thing to say them, to get up and make a sign and go say them to somebody.
And it's because, Mike, we have developed a culture in which we, for by and large, with zero consequences. You know, that's been our problem. That's the number one issue plaguing this country right now, is that for the most part, many times, depending upon what type of group you apply yourself to, actions don't have any consequences. I mean, we have numerous examples. I mean, we've got a county attorney that just announced a couple of days ago, well, if you are guilty of a low-level traffic stop, we can't enforce anything after that. And the cops are outraged. They're saying,
rightfully so.
What do you? And I wish I could remember the deputy's name, but there was a deputy with Hennepin County that just said, well, okay, just a week ago, we had a low-level traffic stop that resulted in like thousands and thousands of dollars of drugs being seized, illegal firearms being seized, and 2 guys that shouldn't have been out in the first place apprehended because of a low-level traffic stop. And for that woman to then say, well, that shouldn't matter anymore.
Sure.
You're not helping matters now.
You're not helping those you think you're helping. Now there's going to be more crime in disadvantaged neighborhoods because of that, right?
100%.
The people are going to become stronger criminals. There's also something to be said about catching people on small stuff, right? You got a guy that's going to start doing some criminal things, and you catch him for speeding, or you catch him because his window tint is too dark.
Yep.
And he says, you know what? They're kind of on top of me. I don't know if it's worth the risk. Instead of, they can't do anything anyways.
Right.
I can have guns and drugs sitting in my car.
All right, let's take a minute to talk about our friends at North American Banking Company, nabankco.com, to learn more. 6 Twin Cities locations to serve you. I was just at Roseville yesterday afternoon making a payment, and they are wonderful people there at the Roseville location. But you can also see them at 50th and France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. Can you tell I had dental work done today? North American Banking Company offers all of the services as the other big national banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, perhaps finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been thinking about. They will be able to help you out. And they offer all of the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks. But the key difference is you are going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. And they are also locally owned and operated. Here's why that's important. That means loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities. They are not sent out of state. So this helps you business owners solve problems quickly and expand your business with confidence. They deal with numbers every single day, but you are never going to be one of them. So once again, check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. The Weekly Scramble. We will be right back.
I bet you the people at North American Bank are really good at math.
Why is that?
Well, I bet you they are. Like, they're in the banking business. You are accounting. You're good at that. My daughter's really struggling with math. I had to go out and get her a teacher that never farts in public.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a private tutor. She needs a private tutor. You get it,
ladies and gentlemen.
What kind of pants does a psychic wear?
He's got more. All right. You know, Mike, I've always wondered, what kind of pants does a psychic wear?
A paranormal pants.
See,
those are the best. It is the highlight of my day when I get to come in here and do those jokes. It is literally the highlight of my day. Those were 2 knock it out of the park jokes.
And you know what? It's not only any comedian will tell you, it's not the material. It's the ability to pull the material off.
Did you like how I worked it into like an NA Banco? I was going to do it in the middle of your read, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, do they want a joke about a farting teacher?
Of course they do.
Okay, because
you know our crowd well.
I think they totally would. You have this beautiful quarter zip. If you're not watching the show, you can watch it on YouTube.
Yes.
And you have a North American Bank quarter zip on.
One of
it's
my
one of your
favorite
favorites.
shirts.
It absolutely looks great on you.
Any person that advertises with Garage Logic, the Weekly Scramble, or uses me as their spokesperson, they know, well, all I have to do is give Reavers a quarter zip and he's going to wear it because this is my favorite style of shirt.
Did you? So you had it on for GL?
Absolutely.
You wore it here?
I love it. Yeah.
You're going to work out with it tonight?
Well, we'll see about that. Maybe I have to throw it through the wash quick. And you know what? I'm proud of us.
Why is that?
Because we decided not to go down the Jimmy Kimmel route today.
Yeah, he's back. I'm going to watch him tonight. Are you going to watch him?
Well, I probably won't.
It's awful late.
But not only that, I'm going to probably watch, the Padres play the Giants or somebody in baseball. He's going to whatever the number is, he's going to destroy the single night ratings record.
Do you think he's going to say so? What do you think he's going to say? I think he might have to apologize.
You know what?
With one of those, I'm sorry you felt offended.
He would actually show me something if he actually did come out and say, what I did was wrong. And
He's never going to do that.
well, no, I guess in some roundabout way, just saying I manipulated the facts of a pretty large, high-profile
or I
case.
didn't have all the facts. He'll
Or
blame
something
it on,
like
I
that.
didn't have all the facts at the time.
That would actually show me something if he decided to do that. And again, I'll get the recap tomorrow morning. I ain't watching the show.
I wonder
tonight.
what he's going to... It's going to be interesting. Maybe... Well, it is on ABC. Don't we own ABC?
We do.
Okay,
yeah.
Let's watch it then.
Okay,
Let's watch it tonight.
But if he does come out and just does 15 straight minutes about ripping Trump, then it's like, dude, what are you?
Yeah,
but whatever, he's got his playbook, so he's just going to do what he's going to do.
Sure. Okay, well, Kimmel is not the best, but you know who is? Rivers, you are the best.
Thank you, Michael. Hey, please do us a favor. Rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. It helps other people find the show, and it truly does help us out as well, and we appreciate each and every single one of you. His name is Mike Fredoloni. My name is Chris Rivers. Thank you so very much for listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. We'll talk to you again next time. Until then, cheers.